Hello, I'm Lynda Kinkade. Thanks so much for joining us. You've been watching CNN's continuing coverage of Hurricane Ian, and right now the full force of the storm is bearing down on the west coast of Florida. And this storm is forecast to inflict a catastrophic storm surge in some areas, washing up to 18 feet. That's about 5 meters of ocean water onto the land. That could leave homes along the coast completely underwater. Power outages, destructive winds and possible tornadoes have already wreaked havoc in some areas, and the risk of historic flooding could pose a deadly threat. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis and other officials are warning of tough hours and days to come. And authorities in Cuba are working to restore power after Hurricane Ian caused a nationwide blackout. The storm pummeled the western coast before heading to Florida, killing at least 2 people. Tens of thousands of people evacuated as authorities warned of potential flooding and mudslides. Our Patrick Oppmann is in Havana and joins us now live. Good to have you with us, Patrick. So the hurricane was a Category 3 when it hit Havana, knocking out power across the country. Just tell us what you're learning about the extent of the damage and the efforts to restore power there.
This is a historic storm for Cuba, an island that knows all too well about hurricanes, but it has knocked down Cuba, and people here are struggling, understandably, to still get up. Of course, you know, to the west of us, you have just devastation. Houses after house that have lost the roofs, people who have flooding, and that is going to take months to probably fully get back everything they've lost, if ever. You know, just power there will probably take weeks to restore. Here in Havana, the damage also is significant. Trees down. But of course, the biggest problem is that power has not only been lost where the storm hit, and here in Havana, where we had lesser damage, but still some flooding, but it has now spread a rolling blackout across the entire island, and the government is still struggling to restore power to the 11 million inhabitants of Cuba. That's something that's just never happened, that a hurricane knocks out one city and that leads to blackouts across this island, which is such a large island, far and away the largest island in the Caribbean. So, you know, people that cannot recover if they don't have power, if their food is spoiling in their fridges, if at night they cannot sleep because it is so hot. So the government, of course, is prioritizing that, and we still don't know when power will get back on. And just for the people in Florida, you know, late yesterday when I was driving home, we thought the storm was long gone, and the storm surge came in much later than we really expected that it would. You know, probably at least 8 feet where I was driving my car. It's Havana's main roadway on the coast here, on the front, it's called the front porch of Havana, really, and it was underwater, and there were hotels that the water had gone up to the doors of the hotels. We could feel the waves rocking the car, so we had to get off this main roadway. And it just goes to show that every storm is different. I've covered dozens of these. There's never been really 2 that's the same. And even when you think you know what's going to happen, a storm can surprise you, often with dangerous results. So this flooding here in Havana, which again escaped the worst of the storm, was really quite damaging, and it could have been fatal. So certainly people who are in Florida and think the storm has passed, you cannot take anything for granted. This is going to be a very, very dangerous storm, as it was here in Cuba.
Yeah, no doubt. We are going to continue to follow it. Patrick Oppmann for us in Havana, thanks so much. And we will continue to monitor this hurricane as it hits Florida. We will speak to our correspondents in the hour ahead.